Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an amazing play day number 5 so far. I'm at 0 out of 3 correct. That's me. But you guys have generally been doing pretty well with the predictions. And this man to my right, technically, has been very, very well. Because we head to the big one, though. We've saved the best till last. It's Wildcard versus Pittsburgh Knights. Doesn't really get bigger than that, does it, for Oceanic Siege?
Yeah, and on a bit of a lighter note, my back is actually super sore right now, and I'm not sure if it's because I've been standing up for probably the longest period I have in like 6 months because I haven't been anywhere, or if it's because I'm carrying the predictions. But either way, this last match is going to be a banger. Stop shaking your head; it's going to be a banger. I want to see some nods.
It's definitely,
Okay.
I agree that it's going to be a banger. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Let's go and have a look at the lineup for Wildcard Gaming here. They were the champs, weren't they, in Six Masters? They were undefeated, and yet they dropped a map to Noble in Playday 2. Since then, they've of course been pretty much faultless. They had a close run-in with Rhythm 8-6 in Playday 3. They brushed aside Elevate 7-2, and here they are now going up against Knights. Vince, of course, has slotted in perfectly though for this roster.
Oh, perfectly. I mean, they didn't have the best performance against Noble. I would say close to perfect. He's probably
I'm talking about Vince. That's all I'm talking about. Just Vince.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't think Vince has fitted perfectly into this squad. I'd say near perfect. I'd say considering the circumstances, the amount of time he had to prepare for this roster, he's done a really, really good job, fulfilled that role that we expected. And I'm sure, look, the team, of course, would still be massively missing Ethan, but having Vinny to fill that role, it's probably put their mind at ease a little bit that he has been able to fulfill it pretty well thus far. And that's only going to continue to grow. Wildcard is a team that takes, once they sort of cohere together and like looking into the future, these guys are going to be nuts if they stick together.
Yeah, Jer has been the star player for Wildcard as well, at least in my eyes, and has constantly polled pretty well in the MVP voting. Pittsburgh Knights, we'll go and have a look at their roster, of course. They also had a change. No more Strider, Sagion. Maybe Strider was the problem because this Pittsburgh Knights team is flawless at the moment. No, Strider wasn't. I love Strider. They're plus 14 map differential. They're 4-0. They couldn't have had a better start to this season. But now, of course, they have a pretty big matchup against Wildcard. They did play Noble last week, though, 7-3, and a pretty comfortable win in the end.
Yeah, which is funny, right? Because we look at Noble and they're the team that have managed to take down Wildcard. So if you were to put 2 and 2 together and again, just base it purely on statistics, which again, I just want to reiterate, isn't the full picture, you could go into this and say, oh, Knights are going to like smash this, right? It's going to be like a 7-2, 7-3, but surely not, right? But we probably said the same when it was Knights versus Noble, so who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I personally have gone for Wildcard. I know you've gone for Knights, and all I know is that one of us is going to be leading the predictions by the end of it. So it's going to be an intriguing one. But what I do know is tonight has been all about the maps. It's just been the talk of the town. You know, Oregon's been involved. We've seen Clubhouse twice now. And what seems to be a bit of discussion typically about the team that does ban second, guys, in their decision on whether or not to go to map A or map B. In this case, of course, map vetoes, super important here between Wildcard and Knights. Where are we heading?
Oh, big loaded question to kick things off. I mean, both of these teams have dabbled a little bit in Cafe, and I mean, following the trend of OCN, we're probably expecting to see it at least once tonight. That would be a little bit strange if we didn't. Outside of that, they haven't actually shared any maps together. So if it isn't Cafe, I'm not too sure what it would be. I would still expect it to be within that Holy Trinity, right? So you got Cafe, Consulate, not Consulate, sorry, Clubhouse, and whatever the third map is, and that might's called Blake.
Theme park?
No. It's
no, you're talking about the Trinity.
Yeah, the Trinity.
Cafe, Clubhouse. Well, Villa is not really part of the
Villa, but we haven't seen a lot of Villa recently, so yeah, I'm gonna say Cafe, but it's up in the air.
Right now, it kind of feels like Oregon has become the part of the Holy Trinity. Let's go and have a look, though, where we're going. Of course, Wildcard are banning second. They will get the choice, and we'll go to Clubhouse for the 3rd time in a row tonight. We've literally clustered 3 Oregon into 3 Clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're consistent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's delve into these bans a little bit deeper. Oregon, you teased it that we might see it. I was probably expecting to see that actually switched around with the Cafe. I'm surprised that Cafe was insta-banned by Wildcard, maybe expecting Pittsburgh to be quite strong there. They did then elect to use their second ban on Oregon, which isn't a big surprise. Wildcard haven't been great on Oregon. Well, that said, they've only played it once in an official, and that was against the Pittsburgh Knights in the major, where they lost. So they're probably just keeping that in the background, scrimming it and practicing it, getting good at it, getting better at it for the future. Outside of that, nothing else is really sticking out to me massively. Clubhouse is going to be a banging match, that's for sure, though.
Yeah, and obviously Clubhouse is the proverbial home of Oceanic Siege, isn't it? And what better place to sort of send these two teams? And we've had our fair share of matches on it tonight. Ferox Elevate was Clubhouse, and LFO Rhythm was also on Clubhouse. And we've just, I guess, I almost feel like, though, those matches are just completely irrelevant here. These two teams are just so much more methodical and clean in their approaches that it's hard to sort of look too much at those other matches and try and apply it to what we think is going to happen here. Of course, for Wildcard, they did have the decision between Clubhouse and Villa. Are you happy with that? Do you think Wildcard have made the right choice, or do you think maybe Villa should have got more of a look in?
Let's have a look at the stats, well, shall we?
Why not?
Villa, from all the history I have, 8-4 in favor of Wildcard, but I don't think they've played it recently from memory. The last time they played it was actually against Okami. It was actually in the Six Masters 20 Grand Final, and we all know how that went. It was actually a pretty good performance for them. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't go there. Maybe saving something. Maybe they think that Clubhouse is probably a little bit of a better map in the fact that it's super structured. I mean, they're both super structured, so that's a little bit of a weak argument, really. But against the likes of the Knights, who they themselves have become super structured this season and super regimented, maybe they just feel they have a slight edge heading into this map.
Potentially also maybe want to just keep Villa in the back pocket for the playoffs. Let's go and have a look at the Snowball expert panel predictions, which currently now is actually led by myself, yourself, and Raven. Technically, just hasn't been updated. And we do have a split, which I thought actually pretty much all of tonight was going to be like this, like 4-3 or 3-4, like however you want to look at it from either side. Now, what this means is I will either be solo first, or yourself and Raven, the old dynamic duo, will be in top spot.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
only rightful.
Ducky would then be almost making the big comeback, apparently, too.
And then Sky's actually at third of the wooden spoon, maybe. Yeah, which wouldn't be great. So, yeah, I mean, like we said, split results, split prediction, anyone's game. It's a tough one to call. I'm personally, honestly, picking Pittsburgh as a bit of an underdog heading into this one. I do truly, deep down guts, believe that Wildcard are probably the better team.
Well, we're about to find out. No more waiting around. We head back to Clubhouse. It's the home of OCE Siege. It's the two big dogs. Wildcard, Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh undefeated at the moment, 4-0. They've got a plus 14 map differential. The next best, it's Wildcard, plus 9, who are 3-1 at the moment. So technically, the winner of this game, guys, they will be in first place and may very well remain there for the remainder of the regular season.
Yeah, may well be the case. And of course, heading into playoffs, having that first place seeding will put yourself in a very favorable position. So I don't think either of these teams will be leaving too much in the tank. Yes, they're going to leave strats, yada, 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 but they're still going to be giving it their all to get that dub. On the topic of bans, though, Maverick Cap off the board first. We saw that on the previous matchup, or at least one of the matchups tonight, if my memory serves me correctly. So no surprises there. But the Pulse, that's taken off by the Knights. Now, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, again, relying on it way too much, but Pat, I believe, typically plays the Pulse. You can gain a lot of intel below. C4 denial's massive on this map as well, particularly on sites like Gym Bedroom and CCTV and Cache. So that's a really nice target ban there from the Knights. And Wildcard will close it out with Valk. So Valk actually getting banned out in all 3 of the matchups tonight here on Clubhouse.
I think also Maverick was banned out in the other 2 as well.
Probably, yeah.
Which is, I mean, not a surprise, really. But yeah, the Valkyrie, the ones is interesting there, because was it not Digital who said, you know, and we kind of touched on it a little bit in the last match, but was a bit surprised by the Valkyrie ban, and yet here we go. We've seen it 3 out of 3 now, so there's obviously something to it. Church Arsenal, no surprise, and for what is now the 3rd time, we are going to be starting down there. It's harder to look back at the other matches when you're looking at Wildcard Knights, but typically, statistically, defense, basement, it's usually go hand in hand. Wildcard, the favored community vote, which the community is usually spot on the money.
Not
so
on this one,
I feel a lot more confident. Don't listen to Guts.
I refuse to believe that. Haven't you seen the script? The script's already written. That's a joke, by the way. There's no script. Or at least if there is, I haven't seen it.
Obviously, Ducky has though.
10 seconds to go.
Well, not for the first game, he didn't.
No,
Maybe it was the throw off the scent. It was the throw off the scent.
5
That one.
seconds
Yeah.
left before insertion.
So no roam strat here for Wildcard, or at least no SSG roam, but I'm fine with that. I don't know. Knights is the sort of team where you don't want to take too many risks, right? I mean, you got to give them the respect that they have well and truly deserved. So this might end up just being a turtle.
Yeah, I think roaming would be more risky for Wildcard than Knights. They've proven that they can be quite regimented in their clears and quite precise. So taking them on a roam would be very, very, very risky. So maybe if Wildcard struggle here on the turtle, we could see it come out later in the map. But so far, nothing's really catching my eye in the first round. It's nothing too ridiculous for the start of this map. How will the Knights approach it, though? That's the question. Hayward getting early third, trying to put some pressure maybe on these members. We see, of course, Sage on the Thatcher, Dino on the Habana. They might be able to get some work done pretty quickly here. This is a good, solid start from the attack.
Hayward's probably the key, right? The Snowball MVP for week 2 was completely dominant last week's Playday matches. And I sort of made the same, it's not an assumption, but the same argument for Mims and LFO. If Mims does well, LFO does well. I think for Knights, though, they're not obviously as reliant on just Hayward. Josh has been amazing. Sajon's come in and done really good things as well. So, and you can never count out Juicy and Dino. So, while Hayward was definitely amazing last week, they've got so many pieces they can rely on here. Same can be said for Wildcard, though. Dino just in a bit of a tussle. There is Hayward, though, to get the opening frag onto Geo. Who Geo's probably been the best player for Wildcard this season.
I mean, if you take a very quick sit rep, it's actually a 3-on-5 now. Ammo rin down, over a minute still for the Knights to work with. This has been a very, very strong start. In fact, it's a 2-on-5. This has been a disastrous start here for Wildcard, and the Knights should convert.
Should and could and will. Flawless start for Knights as well on the attack down in basement. I mean, you couldn't get off to a better start, really. You literally can't on Clubhouse. That's as
Exactly.
fast as you
It's
can
in the
go.
name. It's in the name, right? Flawless. I mean, actually, technically, you could be downed and then still win flawlessly, but I don't want to get too technical here, Don't want to, any 5-head spam in the chat or anything.
Good start, though, and I wouldn't say that's exactly what Knights need. I mean, it's still got that really weird feel, and you even kind of said it yourself. You kind of feel like Knights coming in as underdogs, but should they? I mean, they're the ones who are undefeated. They're the ones who've got that high map differential. No one has really come close to them so far. I think their best maybe a 7. I think 7-5 is the closest it's gotten
Defenders
for them.
from being defused by attackers.
So is it fair that they are the underdogs and Wildcard who have dropped the map, who have been more shaky?
Yeah, well, this match will give us that answer. It's so early days. I'm still standing behind the fact that I think the Knights are the underdogs, but maybe that also links back to the context as to which this game is taking place. If this was the final, then you could probably say with good confidence that Wildcard are the favorite, Knights are the underdog. Maybe the fact that it's regular season, maybe Wildcard's form against Noble raises a couple of question marks, but I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. I still think overall Wildcard are the better team with the most experience. Or actually, do they have the most experience? Probably. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they do. So they are the favorites in my book still.
Yeah. But I think for Knights, this is so far been an amazing regular season. Oh, Diesel's just been chunked extremely low. I mean, that's like a sliver of health. It's almost better to down him and then pick him back up again.
Oh, it would have been back in the day when you could
Back in the day, yeah.
get them back up to 50. I think it's only 25 now, right? So, or 20. So. Unfortunate for him. Might still hit a res, but I mean, there's so much chaos going on. That wildcard won't even find the opening. And on top of that, Diesel's a long, long way away from sight. Now, there's an interesting dynamic playing out in this map. We often see Emo in here. Actually, Bandit tricking the wall. And this isn't new. Yes, this is 2020. And Bandit is still tricking walls, even with the Thatcher rework. Emo Rin, very, very proficient at that role. Not sure how much time he's been able to burn so far. It's been quite a bit. First charge goes on the wall. Emo Rin doesn't hit it. So yes, the Knights spent a little bit of time preparing it, but it was a clean execute on the breach in the end.
Minute 40 seconds remaining. And Wildcard definitely don't want to go down 2-0 because it hasn't gone well for teams so far tonight who have started off slow. I think in all our matches tonight, it's gone at least 2-0. And the team that did start off 2-0 went on to win the matchup. So potentially more circumstances there that could be between the matches. I mean, what does Diesel even do from here? Just play super defensive, I guess.
Yeah. Probably just maybe try and find a pick. I would expect that the mentality for Wildcard is now to probably play it like a 4v5. That would make the most sound sense to me. And if Diesel finds a pick, that's great. If he gets taken out, well, that's expected. Now we have this battle going down inside of Garage. It's Geo holding the rafters, gets flashed out. That's a very dangerous position he finds himself in. And it gets capitalized on. That's a huge pick there. Hayward onto Geo. Pat does find one back, but remember, Diesel is still so low. So you could technically say that this might be a 4-on-3 come the exit.
But Diesel could still just pop up out of nowhere and have an impact. Dino does get the elimination onto Diesel. Juicy will get Emarinso trades back and forth right now. Josh will just push through Kennel's wall. Got Rafters as well in control right now. Knights looking good. Vince and Pat remaining against the three members of Knights. Pat just down below. Vince over towards top red. Oh, nicely done from Pat, though, from down below. 2 versus 2. Diffuser just picked up by Hayward. Now going to go for the plant now. Can it be stopped? Going to be denied. Josh in a really good position. Doesn't actually get one. Actually, never mind. Did get the down onto Pat. Oh, Vince comes in. Vinny with a big play. Does get Josh as well. It's a 2v0 double kill for Vince. He gets the defuse. And Pat just crawls in to celebrate. Like he's got an itchy butt.
Oh, Vinny. Vinny. And this has probably been an issue that's lingered for the Knights for quite some time. There has been occasions where they've been a little bit sketch in the post plant, and that's an example right there. I think what threw, was it Hayward off that went for the plant on the thermite? It was, right?
Yeah, Hayward was planning.
Yeah, so what happened was he got it down, his teammate was covering him, but had to reload, and that probably caused a little bit of chaos in the comms, right? So here we have Josh. He has to reload now, or jump to the pistol. And they've probably panicked a little bit, saying, oh, we probably need to find a kill. And yeah, Vinny already mopped up. In fact, I'm probably overthinking it too much. So
yeah,
Vinny probably killed them. Vinny probably killed them before they had a chance to say anything, to be completely honest. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate. But
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
look,
defused
we all
by
make mistakes.
I've got to back the Knights, remember? I'm a biased caster for the Knights.
Well, the good news for Wildcard is that they at least don't have to worry about the 0-2 curse that we've seen so far tonight. Hanging up 1-1 now. We head to Gym Bedroom. It kind of feels like they win Gym Bedroom, and they've kind of like, they lost the one round you kind of expect them to win, and then they've won the 2 50-50 battles. Which is a good little turnaround there, I guess, for Wildcard at the end of the day.
I think it's going to come down to how defenders decided in this map, because we've seen it before that even 1 or 2 lapses in concentration or 2 losses in a round on the defense can prove quite costly, particularly when it's on sites that you're expected to win. Wildcard didn't lose here on Gym or Bedroom. They lost in Basement, which we've seen, I believe, outside of the last game when Rhythm closed it out, have basically been strong wins across the board for all of these teams. So I'm not saying that one round is disastrous and Wildcard are going to lose it, but it could come back to bite them a little bit as this half progresses.
Diesel's got, at the very least, 180s there.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be denied.
I thought he was going to impact trick it from below somehow, and I was freaking out, but no, it was just a classic over the reinforcement. But what was that from below? It was a second impact.
I don't think there's anyone below.
How did the X-Kairos get taken out then? What was that? Did it get shot?
I don't think it did it? No, it was successful.
Can we see the breach?
Unless it went through.
Yeah, see? One of them got taken off.
yeah.
I don't know how though.
Wow.
Not sure.
It must have been from Con. Surely it had to be from Con.
Yeah. No, you can't get the angle, so I think it was below. Maybe it was Geo on the room. I don't know.
Like through the door? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I think we're both just gonna...
Too big brain for us smooth brain casters.
But this is good time wasting from Diesel right now with a bit of help from Geo as well, sitting in Con. That is just keeping 2 stuck over at CC. Minute and a half remaining. They still haven't flushed out Diesel. Diesel gets 1 kill here, and it's just like mega job done. I think even already it's job done in terms of time wasting, but this is being 2.0. Like, yeah, okay, we know where he is. Diesel does take a bit of damage and probably starting to feel the pinch and the pressure here. But by the time Diesel goes down, there's going to be like a minute left on the clock.
Gets taken down eventually, 3 on 5, and as you mentioned, only a minute left on the board, and this is where the site becomes really difficult because all the players are trying to work out where can I safely sit. Geo's running around, Emorin's running around. They're trying to find a safe position to try and find the frag back, try and find themselves back in to this round, but it's going to be so challenging. The Knights, they are very well versed in these scenarios. They're well disciplined, and they should be able to close this one out by refrag.
Well, Hayward's got the diffuser though. If Hayward loses this fight against Pat, that's diffuser down over at Logistics. Well, Pat now has been eliminated, so obviously a bit of reinforcements there. Dino was able to get that frag, and yeah, look, they've cleaned up. There was a small little frame where Wildcard, had they been able to get Hayward, but flawless round in the end from Knights. It was probably not actually as flawless as the first flawless round. That was a little bit more messy. I'm surprised they didn't lose any players in particular.
Well, we've been through 3 sites now. We had Church, then Cash, then Bedroom. 2 of those, of course, went in favor of the Knights. The only objective that Wildcard did successfully defend was Cash CCTV. Unfortunately for them, that's going to be blocked out, of course, because of the 3-round rotation, and they'll head back downstairs. Makes sense. The favored site, of course, here on Clubhouse. This is a huge round, I think. If the Knights manage to win another basement attack, that puts a lot of pressure back on Wildcard.
Yeah, but on the flip, if Wildcard do get this, then it's just 1-for-1 continuing on, and it's 2-2, and it's pretty much still not really feeling like any team has an advantage here. So yeah, like Knights have definitely got more to gain in this round. They win it 3-1, and as you said, the pressure mounting and 2 basement round wins on the attack is amazing. If Wildcard win it, it's kind of just like, okay, job done. Now we've got to keep going forward and try and close the half off in a winning style. So it seems as if they're going to just turtle it up again. I would like to maybe see a little bit more presence up on that first floor, or just try and buy a bit more time, because Knights just last time out were having a field day above on the first floor.
Yeah, I'm sure Wildcard are aware of the amount of ground that was gained. I guess maybe they're just weighing up the pros and cons of whether or not that roam really is justifiable against the Knights. I would say that it probably isn't. We see Emorin roaming late, but it's probably just to find drones, unless they're going to commit to it without a castle. So maybe Wildcard are willing to roll the dice, take that gamble. If it pays off, they might be able to secure this round.
So much riding on this round.
Oh, this is going to be an early engagement. Early engagement.
Emorin does win it in the end. Pat was also there as well on CCTV. Dino taken down just makes things a little bit more difficult now for Knights, and I like the roam back down. Geo though getting Sage on, and while just sitting duck. Don't you just hate that? I mean, you haven't got eyes in the back of your head, and for good reason. And that's so much better from Wildcard. And I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, guys, but I did say a bit more presence up on that first floor, bit more aggressive compared to the first round on basement, where they literally just turtled, and Knights had a field day, and well, this was much better.
Yeah, I got caught off guard a little bit, and it seems like the Knights did too. They were trying to establish really quick control, but maybe didn't have enough info. We know the drones got taken down, and maybe the Knights just a little bit too brazen, just sort of shook it off and said, "Oh, the drones are down. Whatever, we'll still push it." Obviously, that didn't quite work out. Not a bad pick there from Hayward. Does leave it in a 2-on-4, but Wildcard, just like the Knights, are one of those teams in these scenarios we very, very rarely see them throw. So it's going to be a very difficult comeback for the Knights.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Pretty certain that Wildcard have also got diffuser. I don't think Knights do have it. Unless they've dropped it, unless Hayward's just dropped it behind him with dirt, maybe. Yes, okay. Regardless, I mean, what, a minute left. Hayward's so low here as well.
Hayward's just trying to pad his stats, right? Because I believe from the Siege GG stats that are out so far, he's actually the top-rated player in the entire league. So this is a big match for his stats.
Should have just
But
saved.
stats don't matter, right? Because it's a team game, you know. Obviously.
Yep. Could have just run away. Timed out the round. No. 2-2. And also, if you do play like that, Guz, then it actually inflates the stats than what it should be. And so if Hayward does play normally, then it makes those stats even better, really. So no reason to play like that. Fortunately, didn't. And so far, we do have a back and forth. Knights wildcard, Knights wildcard. Do we go Knights once again here in Cash CCTV? Although last time out, it was actually Wildcard who did pick up this site. So Wildcard have won Cash CCTV. They've won Church Arsenal.
Attackers need to
They
locate
haven't been able to win Gym Bedroom just yet. Obviously, we only had the one round on that. If they can win Cash CCTV again and rectify their issue on Gym Bedroom, 4-2-1/2 is amazing for Wildcard here.
No. My sources are telling me that you know how the Havana Palms would trick that round. It was actually like the Oregon Gainesville-esque under the wall through the floor styled trick. If that kind of makes sense.
Under the wall through the floor.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like you lob it under the wall by destroying it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't really explain it without it going into a custom and actually showing
5
it.
seconds left before
Yeah,
insertion.
we've got time.
Pretty big brain stuff. Oh, do we? Do we have time? These two teams are
Must
playing
locate and
Xenox.
defuse a bomb.
We don't want to keep them waiting. I don't want to be waiting any longer. My feet are getting sore. And my back, remember?
Okay.
Carrying these predictions.
Well, this Rafters position is going to be pivotal. Looks like it's going to be Geo to take that position. Pat was also really important from that position to get that refrag in the earlier round on Cash CCTV. What?
Attackers have located.
NS. That's my analysis. NS. Rough one for Diesel. We've already seen him have a little bit of a hard time in the early rounds of some of these engagements. Where he's either got away with low health or, unfortunately, in this occasion, taken down completely. On top of that as well, no real intel gathering on the board for Wildcard for Diesel to now sort of fall on. So he'd probably just be shot calling and giving any sort of intel that he does have available.
Did he get him through the drone hole?
I didn't see. I looked away.
Anyway,
we need a replay
kind
on
By
that.
attackers.
of feels like, so the last time out on Cash CCTV, Diesel got taken down to that like little sliver, right? So it's kind of like the same thing again, except this time it's not an actual hypothetical where you kind of like, Zimarins should be able to trick this. No. Unsuccessful. This time you don't have Diesel. Geo taken to half health as well. He's having a rough time over at Rafters, being pressured quite extensively by the Knights. Zimarin just holding position in Cash and looking into CCTV. Yeah, there is Geo, half health. Matter of just staying alive for as long as possible.
Well, there's only a minute to go, so they don't need to hold out for too much longer. But the Knights, again, 5-3 advantage. Should be able to collapse onto site. Dino gets lit up. Pat with a run out. Doesn't quite hit the mark unless he was doing some damage there to Dino, potentially. Wasn't quite sure where he was positioned. Either way, 4-on-3. Couple of the members of Wildcard quite low here. So this should be a Knights round. They just need to clean execute in towards side. It looks like Juicy has already progressed quite deep. Now they need to try and cover the line.
Geo So important from this position. Still one down below as well to the right. Imran's found two. Gio can get another one here as well. And it's only Dino that remains. And Dino's extremely low and still has to contend with Gio. Imran will then be able to just play from sight with the diffuser on the floor. That's it. Emo can also just come in as well and provide backup. So much for Knights should win. Knights have lost.
Yeah. They went so deep into sight, but didn't properly clear the garage rafters, which caused a lot of issues, and was ultimately the headache that cost them the round, in my opinion. We saw Gio he was just chilling there. Dino was in bot garage, didn't pressure it, maybe off the back of the Banshee, giving away that sound cue. Maybe thought it would be a little bit too risky. Either way, though, it was a misplay from the Knights. They didn't clear that position effectively, and they were made to pay. And Wildcard is a team that will make you pay for your mistakes. They exploit them. They make the smallest mistake look like the biggest mistake, like they did in that round. And unfortunately, the scoreboard reflects it. Wildcard, out of seemingly nowhere, I would say, a little bit of a stretch, but seemingly out of nowhere, now in a position to actually have a 4-2 lead. That's big.
Well, potentially, yeah. 3-2 now for Wildcard. And the only two rounds the Knights have won have actually been both flawless rounds. So they have been either clean as a whistle, or they can't get the job done. Diesel yet to find a frag has certainly just felt nothing but pain in these first 5 rounds. But has actually had some influential moments. Sitting in cash earlier, was able to buy a lot of time for that actual gym bedroom defense from last time out. Might like to do so here again. Maybe. We'll see. Of course, gym bedroom Knights were victorious last time out on this site. Wildcard will be looking to buck the trend here, which so far the trend so far tonight has been attacking team wins gym bedroom first time out, then they lose it on the second rotation of it. So we'll see if that continues.
Indeed we will. Nothing sticking out in the lineups. Both teams taking universal lineups. Self-explains. Same lineup for most of the sites because they transfer across. The only thing that really sticks out is this alibi, I guess, from Diesel. He preps the floor and he can actually impact trick under it. So hopefully we actually get to see him do it, because obviously if you impact trick the top of the wall, the explosion radius isn't quite enough to get the pallets down at the bottom. So this is a nice adaptation from Wildcard. First time I believe I've seen it in an official, at least in OCE. Clean trick on the first, but that means that he doesn't have any impact nades left. So getting this wall open should be a pretty achievable task now.
Wait. Does that mean we won't see it under the wall?
So where Dino's drone just got taken out is where it gets thrown, from my understanding. So yeah, we don't.
I just wanted to see it, that's all.
Oh well. We'll see it one day. I'm sure most teams will be doing it now, you watch.
3-2. It was a 2-1 start for Knights, and since then, 2 in a row now for Wildcard here for the final round of the half. It definitely would feel a little bit more comfortable going into their attacking half, up 4-2. Slow start for Sageon tonight as well. But Jacuzzi wall open. Minute 10 seconds left, plenty of time. They've got a couple over at subroof as well. I'd imagine, is anyone going for logistics hatch as well? No.
Yes.
One's up there. Minute left.
Yep. Main jacuzzi wall is open, so that's great for the Knights, but the next step will likely be to try and get bathroom open, but that's going to be near impossible. Emo in with the impact nades can trick that. It's really going to come down to some bare knuckle brawling almost. They need to just head themselves in towards the side, try and find picks is probably going to be the best option. Maybe if Emo peaks this rather than Dino can find the pick, that would be huge in this round. But both players playing quite passively, and now push comes to shove. Geo finds 2. That's a huge way to set up the round.
Critical execution from Geo. He was able to find a frag though, at least onto Vinny. Juicy now from Jim, although just a pixel of his body was shown to Geo, and that's all Geo will need. Pat will get the gas canister elimination onto Hayward, and 4-2 will finish off the half.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that scoreboard just on paper and you would say, yeah, not bad from the Knights. You'd probably take a 2-round attack on this map against Wildcard. But I would argue that a 3-3 should have been possible, if not even higher, based on the fact that they had a strong start. I mean, they successfully attacked basement, then they 2 rounds later successfully attacked gym bedroom, yet they didn't win either of those sites in the back half of that first half. So maybe that's a testament to Wildcard's ability to adapt on the fly. Maybe Pittsburgh Knights just not quite as sharp in that second half, potentially. Either way, though, they can't change it now. They'll have to be really strong on their defenses to keep themselves in this one.
You just wonder as well the mental pressure potentially on Knights as a team, not coming in as heavy favorites or anything. And I know we discussed this, but you are the team that is still undefeated, high map differential, and obviously you want to beat a team like Wildcard to stamp your credentials. So now that you're down 4-2 in this matchup against the team that you kind of need to beat, not only that, but first place seeding on the line as well with this match, right? Because if you lose this to Wildcard, they're going to have that head-to-head. So there's a lot on the line here for Knights outside of just bragging rights as well. And you just wonder, does that get to a team like Knights if say Wildcard do win this opening attacking round and make it 5-2, which is a pretty decent deficit?
Yep. Pose a risk, but again, Knights won their first attack on this side as well. A Wildcard had no real issue is bringing it back in the end. So again, comes back to that mentality of, can you keep yourself mentally in the game? Because even if the Knights do drop maybe one round, they're still far from really losing it. Anyway, round 7, first of the second half, as we've already established. Geo getting some nice early control above, creating some nice verticality. We saw the Knights do that quite quickly on their first successful attack round win. And so far, the attack is shaping up pretty similarly, and the Knights just sit back and wait almost inside of sight.
Yeah, good presence already, at least on this first floor for Wildcard. Be pretty happy with this. For Knights, it's going to be more of that turtle play style, which didn't bode well for Wildcard when they went for it. The very opening basement round. Minute 30 seconds, so you've got presence, you've got time. I mean, I think Wildcard should be pretty happy with the way that this is playing out right now. If they can find that opening pick, it's the holy trinity, essentially, of the round.
Yeah, Wildcard always take a long time to set up for their attack, so don't be too afraid as that timer ticks down. They are progressing, they are completing that checklist as Vinny opens up the angle in towards Black Box. So that's likely where Wildcard will start up for the plan. That said though, it's still 5 members left on the board. On the defense, it's going to be quite a chaotic finish. This probably won't be a clean plant for Wildcard. Oh, that's a great denial as well. That does not help.
Good denial. 45 seconds. It doesn't help, but it's not the end of the world as well, though. For Wildcard. Geo still from kitchen. There's the ping 2.0 coming into effect, although the nade's still not going to be successful. Hoping that it bounced the right way. Doesn't again. So 2 nades almost essentially, unless it was trying to clear the electrify on the wall. But even then, there's only, what, 20 seconds left. So, I mean, how much time do you really have here? Pat opening frag onto Hayward, and they can now start to push in. Vinny finds a second one here as well now for Wildcard, and all of a sudden, there's that 20-second meta. Wildcard just do it so perfectly, don't they? Diesel's going to give the plant. Josh will at least get one, but that's all it will be. One and done in the end for Knights, and Wildcard do take that 5-2 advantage.
Ooh, it was a scary round, but it was also a scary first round in that first half, right, when the Knights actually won it flawlessly. So there's still a window for the Knights to bounce back, but they are going to need to win this next round. This is a big one. CCTV and Cash, if they lose this, not only will they be against the match point, but they'll also have lost the 2 most successful rounds statistically on the defense. So the pressure's on now. Will the Knights rise to the occasion?
Well, they have to. They absolutely have to. Heading over to Cash CCTV.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
You almost have to
main
look at
bomb.
this as its match point already. In this round in particular as well, because you lose this and it's 6-2 and it may as well just be match point right now, right? So they got a lot of work to do. It's not like they can fall back on Church Arsenal. It's not like they can go back and say, okay, we can win basement. Like, that's already now been accomplished for Wildcard, being able to win that against Knights' defense. So Knights don't even have that. They don't have that in the back pocket. Not only that, but Gym Bedroom has proven, at least tonight, to be something that attacking teams have been kind of successful with attacking. So you lose this, and then you potentially Gym Bedroom is next in line, isn't it? Right? So obviously you could go back down to Church Arsenal, which is probably what you would do instead of Gym Bedroom, but yeah, Knights need to find a lifeline here in this 8th round.
It's time for the likes of Hayward as well to go big. 6-5, not a bad result by any stretch, but there have been times where the Knights have leaned quite heavily on him, maybe leaning a little bit too much, some might say. I probably wouldn't, but some may be of that opinion. The supports for Knights as well need to hold firm. Josh playing the Bandit on this occasion. We saw Emo Rin try to trick the wall on a couple of occasions. Didn't have a lot of success, but maybe wasted a little bit of time. And now it's really a reverse of fortunes. We're going to see Emo Rin now set up to deny this trick. Of course, he can use the lifeline concussions to stop that animation, and it's incredibly difficult for Josh to get it off, if not impossible. It's taking a little bit of time though. Diesel though, he'll initiate things. Concussions go out as well. Vincier off screen to find the first pick, and this is a pretty clean start to the attack for Wildcard.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Vinny's been great. Again, has just slotted in to Wildcard perfectly. Okay, yes, maybe they've had some pained down moments this season compared to last season, but overall, as a team, they've still been impeccable. And right now, this is sort of just putting, I guess, on notice the rest of the competition here with a pretty sweeping victory over Knights. Not over yet. Hayward up in rafters, good position still to be held. A lot of members of Wildcard as well loitering around this side of garage. Imran's going to go back up onto Kennel's wall for the eventual push. 1 minute to go, which is a lifetime in terms of Wildcard's time economy.
What?
What? Why did Vinny kill Pat?
I don't know. Clicked his head, I guess.
It's just in that sort of mood, clicking head mood.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, 4v3, diffusing in hand. Full garage push by the looks of things, and Ingo Rin tasked with the very, very critical job of holding this cross. Wildcard will try and go for the default plan, and Ingo Rin needs to deny any of the player paths. Geo as well will watch the bottom main stairs, and that's to protect from a C4 below. So it's a really nice setup here for Wildcard as Diesel goes for the plant.
Yeah, and then they've got every angle covered right now, don't they? From rafters to Kennel's wall. Sage on there with a nice C4 onto Diesel. Of course, diffuser's down, 40 seconds on the timer there. Josh does get Geo. 2 versus 2. It's not impossible from here, but of course, Vinny, who did get the elimination onto Pat, needs to at least make up for it. Has 3 kills in the round in particular. I mean, Juicy just literally just walks into the sightlines and Vinny gives him a 4K. Vinny says, sorry, Pat, but I won us the round.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one's starting to fall out of the reach of the Knights. Wildcard now on a match point 6-2. And I think my prediction might be wrong, because that now means that the Knights have unsuccessfully defended or attempted the 2 most popular sites. And in fact, they're actually going to head over to Gym Bedroom. So I think that they're probably just at this point willing to take that risk. It might not be the most favored for them statistically, but when you're at this point, I mean, you haven't, again, defended either of the other sites successfully, so you might as well take a bit of a punt.
There's so many questions. I could sit here probably for hours and just ask question after question in regards to... More so, I'd like to ask it to Knights, but at this point, do you just literally just say, you know what, bugger it? Like, 6-2, they got match point. obviously this has not gone our way. Let's save everything we can in terms of strats and performances for playoffs against these guys. Let's not give anything away. We just play stock standard. We don't try and do anything special. We don't try and do anything cheeky. Which means you're not really playing to win, essentially.
Yeah, don't know. I'd hope not, but...
Well, I mean, I'm saying right now. I'm not saying from the very beginning coming into tonight, but I'm just saying at this point now, it's like...
10 seconds remaining.
Who knows? Either way, though, I still think they need to put up at least somewhat of a fight here, keep things a little bit interesting. Again, would not be surprised if it is closed out in this round. We don't know. That said, we don't know what the Knights will necessarily bring to this side and how they will play it. Maybe it's going to be tricky to defend. Wildcard have been pretty damn clinical so far, so
yeah,
shutting that down is tricky.
I think unfortunately for Knights, Wildcard's doing to them what Knights did to Noble last week. Just a clean, clinical performance in a matchup we thought would be close. And I think we all thought Knights Noble last week was going to be very entertaining, very close. And in the end, it was very one-sided. And it's going to be the same here again, it seems, unless Knights can somehow bring it back. It's going to be very unlikely. Wildcard's just not that sort of team you feel that, you know, ultimately is going to give up this sort of lead.
Jeez, Hayward actually almost pulled off that bandit trick by shooting the end battery and then being able to place the other one or the next one down fast. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work. Jacuzzi wall now open for Wildcard to progress through with drones, 2 drones in fact, to scout outside, and they're probably going to see that it's pretty clear at the moment. This could be a very risky point in the round. It's still not even the halfway point, and Wildcard are already probing site.
Yeah, this is where now Vinny can just open up in the bathroom and the sightlines from Jacuzzi wall basically goes straight into bedroom. Minute and a half remaining, and like just in terms of comparison, right? Usually it would take about a minute on the clock where we were seeing teams like Ferox and LFO just to get the Jacuzzi wall open. I mean, Wildcard's already opening up bathroom by this point now. So there's the sort of time difference. They got one over at subroof, so Pat can obviously just look straight into gym and bedroom as well. I mean, they've played this flawlessly this round too. And a lot of the rounds have been flawless from Wildcard here tonight.
Yeah. Expecting another Wildcard special here in the execute with 50 seconds left. This is about the time frame where they do their final checks. Just make 100% sure they know where everyone is, and then they can try and execute in towards the slide. A lot of presence on the windows, presence over towards Jacuzzi, and as Pat gets that first kill, that will probably start to open the floodgates a little bit, and unfortunately for the Knights, that's Hayward down as well, one of their top fraggers.
They can just plant in gym though. They know it's completely open. They know no one's in gym. They got all the angles covered. There's no way in to gym at all, and that's basically it. It's going to be a flawless 7-2 in the final round. It was even a flawless round for Wildcard. That was quick. Blazing quick. I don't know what to say there. Wildcard just sweeping aside Pittsburgh Knights.
Yeah, the first 3 rounds, it felt like the Knights game to lose it to some extent. Of course, the rest of the half painted a different story. It was Wildcard winning the next 3 defenses pretty cleanly, and then they carried that into a 6-round win streak by taking 3 attacks in the half. So that was a very dominant performance in the end. The Wildcard of old is really starting to show now. That's 2 smashings, if you would. They smashed Elevate, they've smashed the Knights. Yeah, they might be wearing that crown of OCE once again.
If there were any doubts as to who, I guess, the favorites are going into the playoffs, those doubts should be cast aside, because it's certainly Wildcard, that's for sure. I mean, after that clinical performance against the team, that surprisingly, it feels like if you've just tuned in, Knights were undefeated. They were 4-0. They had a +14 map differential, the only team to be in double digits in that category. And it's like...
Yeah, I mean, 100%, I agree. And Wildcard will now, I believe, take first place in the standings. They'll probably stay there as well, albeit some crazy result happens elsewhere in the last couple of playdays for Wildcard, but we're expecting them to probably finish cleanly. I think they have, Ferox, and then... is it Okami? I could not tell you. I don't feel like they've played Akami yet. You can probably double check
Yeah,
that for me, but
Ferox and Akami, their last two. And of course, even though they did lose to Noble losing to Akami tonight means that it's very unlikely we're going to have that tiebreaker for first between those two, which would have gone to Noble. So ultimately, in the end, I think that just about, provided, of course, Wildcard do beat Ferox and Akami, should lock them up first seed for Oceanic Nationals. Let's get to our interviews, though. It is going to be Silex first up, which I don't even know what to say right now. That was so clinical. 7-2 against Knights on a map that I think both teams would have been pretty happy to go to.
Yeah, we're really happy to get Clubhouse. We kind of anticipated it, just looking at their past vetoes and stuff. And yeah, we've got a really good history on them. That's why we chose that one over Villa, since we had the final ban out of the two. We didn't have any intel on Villa, so we picked Clubhouse. And the last two encounters, actually the last three encounters we had against them, we won. The last two, I only remember it was like 7-0 and 7-3, I think. So yeah, we've got a pretty good history against them on Clubhouse.
yeah, now in this matchup tonight, it was probably safe to say that the first 3 rounds would have been a little bit scary for you watching. Of course, the first one was a flawless attack by Pittsburgh, and then they managed to win Jim Bedroom as well on the attack. But then you just flick the switch, right? 6 rounds straight after that. How does a top team like Wildcard go from having a couple of iffy rounds to being able to bounce back and just smash their opponent like that?
So we're just getting our mindsets into the game. Just like early on, still just kind of warming up. Made a couple of minor errors. And then, in the second the second church defense, you saw us roam, and that was like probably an accident because we accidentally opened up the kitchen hatch when we were shotgunning holes for between sites at the long wall. And we're like, well, that's going to have to cause us to maybe roam. So yeah, we sent 3 players up, and you could see the coordination there was just like on the fly sort of stuff. Got us 3 frags. Positional play really worked out for us there.
I feel like you guys are peaking at the right time. Do you get that same sense after what was kind of shaky first week and a half where, you 7-4 at LFO, but then you lost to Noble, Rhythm pushed you all the way on the coastline. Since then, though, it does feel like, 7-2 against Elevate, now 7-2 against Pittsburgh. It feels like you're peaking at the right time here heading into playoffs. Do you get the same feeling?
We're getting better each week. Well, I think and I hope. But we have to take each week as it comes. We don't really want to talk down on any of the other teams. They're playing well. Talent's improving. But yeah, they're best of 1 matches, and it can go either way. So it's just whoever shows up on the day, I guess.
Certainly can agree with that sentiment. You guys are in first place, and provided you win your remaining matches in the season, you'll hold on to that first place. So wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season, mate.
Thank you. See you guys next time.
Yeah.
Well, we won't see you next time because we're not casting. But that's
well,
all right. You'll have to put up with Raven and Rob, I guess.
We will see them in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, we will. We definitely will. 100%.
Definitely. Yeah, look, so Wildcard, I think obviously Silex sort of playing it down a little bit, but I truly do believe they're peaking at the right time here. Slow start, obviously Vinny coming into the roster gives them that little excuse that for the first week or so, sure, some growing pains there, but now they kind of look like the Wildcard from 6 Masters where they're just brushing everyone aside, even the teams that, well, in this case, was above them.
Yeah, they're just so clean to watch. Like the only 3 attacks in that half were just so on point. It just felt like the Knights had no opening at all into these rounds. It was just completely dominant. So yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for all the other teams. We know that Wildcard traditionally have been very strong in OCE. They of course won the last 6 Masters. They've won the OCE Major, and it's looking, I don't want to cast a curse them, but there might be a repeat on the cards.
And I tend to agree with you here. And the team that was meant to challenge them was Knights, maybe Noble, and I mean, to be fair, Noble did beat Wildcard, but as Silex said, best of 1s can throw things out. If that had been a best of 2, Wildcard probably win the second one because it was an 8-7. It was still the closest match we've had this season. So You go to a best of 3 wild card. Do they pull away and technically then get the win? Yeah, probably. So I would say, though, in terms of competition, it's certainly closer to wild card this season compared to 6 Masters, for instance, where, you know, we didn't have probably Pittsburgh in this sort of form. And we didn't, Noble, okay, yeah, back when they were sinister, did well in the regular season, struggled in the playoffs. They better hope that maybe some of these early struggles in the back end of the season won't translate to the playoffs. And now maybe we'll be able to give wildcard a run for their money.
Yeah, it's going to come down to if those teams peak at the right time as well. I mean, maybe the Knights will look at this as just a slight dip in form. Then they can find some confidence in their last 3 matches, or last 2 matches rather, and head that into the playoffs. We really just don't know. Again, best of 1 format throws that spanner in the works.
Well, someone who definitely should know, or at least would have more of an idea than us, is Picnic, the coach for Pittsburgh Knights. Really, really rough one, but a great start. I mean, the opening rounds actually were pretty good. I mean, in fact, 2 of them, the only 2 rounds you did win were flawless. Just talk us through, I guess, maybe the start and then where it all went wrong after the first 2-3 rounds.
The start was really good. I think we were playing really adaptive, and we were kind of just, if things went wrong, we were able to adapt on the fly, which is good. It's just, I felt like, I don't know, there was communication issues. There was, especially on defense, just fundamental issues like what we should be bringing and how we should be playing the map with those bans, and we just weren't doing it. And also, I also just feel like we were just playing scared almost, like it just felt off. We weren't switched on.
Yeah, and that sort of leads into my question is, I know obviously you're not in the server, you're coaching, but you are listening to the comms. What's the sort of environment, the team environment like when you are taking on wildcard, particularly on those last few defenses? It's such a challenging environment that you find yourselves in because they are so strong. What was sort of the sentiment in the team? Like, how are you guys coping with that, or did you cope at all with that pressure that was being applied?
It was definitely hard to cope. It was hard to listen to and it's definitely something we have to work on in the future. I think that's one of our biggest weaknesses against wildcard specifically, is just like communication. And when we're down at a deficit, we kind of just get stuck.
You guys have been amazing pretty much for all of the Oceanic Nationals so far. Obviously, this is very much sort of like a bump in the road. You've got Kami to finish off, and then you've got Rhythm to finish off. Obviously, you're not going to take them lightly. Both teams have shown good form. But is it very much now just looking towards playoffs? Obviously, you'll look at those games, and it's all about one game at a time usually. But say wildcard, for instance, now, right? You got to take what you learned here and apply it to playoffs, and that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to learn from this loss.
But like in terms of this, is it just like where you guys went wrong? Because you're kind of saying like comms issue. Is that simply because of your opponent? Like, or do you feel like you could have been playing against anyone tonight, and because of the way you guys were playing, that's why you were off?
I kind of feel like it was because of the opponent, and I think that's something we have to work on. It's also like a case of just kind of playing the same strategy almost, and it felt like they were kind of countering us and we weren't adapting.
Well, at least you've got some good footage from that game, a couple of good rounds to go over, and obviously a couple of things you can work on for a maybe potential playoff matchup against Wildcard to come in the future. Wish you the best of luck in the final 2 games of the season to come, and we'll see you in the playoffs eventually.
Thank you. See ya.
Oh, poor Picnic, man. Oh, I thought he was gonna cry, dude. That was that was rough. That was rough. Oh,
Now,
I feel so bad.
you know who's not going to be crying tonight? It's the person who's on top of the snowball predictions. That's me. Solo first. There's no dash next to my name this time, like last week with Raven. I'm not tied anymore, okay?
You love yourself, don't you? Jesus. I mean, I'm actually going to talk about the Knights here because that's what you folks at home are here to actually listen to. Yeah, rough one. And if it is their opponent, that's a big issue. If they head into playoffs and they have that mentality, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to progress deep in towards the bracket. And it'd be interesting to sort of get a perspective on that compared to the major, because that's where they managed to take down Okami seemingly out of nowhere. They also gave Wildcard a decent run for their money as well. in that event. So maybe then the pressure wasn't on them as much and they sort of just went into it without much to lose. Maybe that's flipped a little bit in this season because the expectation has risen. So hopefully they can meet that and then try and exceed it, because they'll need to if they want to actually take on Wildcard and beat them.
And let's go and take a look at the schedule for Friday's matches and see what's going to be ahead of us to come. Well, firstly, actually, this is today's matches. So Noble, Akami, that was the big disappointment, that Noble laid a bit of an egg against Akami, who kind of looked like their old selves. For Ferox Elevate, it was Elevate who just, I don't know, looked like the Elevate of old, guys. They made Ferox look like Six Masters Ferox.
Yeah, Elevate, that's a big matchup for them, one that some were not expecting them to win. But of course I was, because Elevate are just absolutely amazing. But in all seriousness, yeah, that was definitely an off night for Ferox. They'll be looking to bounce back. And then I guess looking forward, we had Alipho Rhythm managing to jump out on top of that one as well, which I'm a little bit happy about. And then Wildcard Pittsburgh, where the Knights just, yeah, I don't think they woke up today. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, Wildcard looked clinical. Very scary.
Let's go and have a look at the standings and see where everything is currently wrapped up. Well, Wildcard are now in first place, and barring a miracle, should very much finish in first place for the regular season with only 2 games to be played. Pittsburgh, you'd think from here, will hold on for second place. Somehow, Elevate have jumped up into third, tied points-wise with Akami and Noble. So you've got a bit of a pack forming there in the middle bunch. Ferox, 6 points. They're by no means safe. Rhythm have got 3, but they've got 2 really tough opponents to play, which is Noble, and they've also got Pittsburgh Knights. I don't know if I see them getting any more wins. And for LFO, guys, can you believe it? Even though they're still on 0 points after 5 play days, as long as they win their last 2 matches, and Ferox and Rhythm both do not win, they'll make playoffs. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nail-biting season. It's a short one. It's a compact one. And all these matches do build up to sort of an epic finale come Friday night and then the Wednesday night after. It always feels, in a sense, like that mid-table to bottom table is like a mini finals series in itself, right? Because the teams are battling it out to make playoffs or relegations. There's no in-between. There's no like safe middle ground in this season. Playoffs, or you're gone, or you're battling for your relegation position. So lots of pressure in these last couple of days.
Certainly. And look, I'm not giving up on Alipho just yet. Hopefully they haven't given up on themselves. And just before we close, I just want to say that if it does happen, it means that Alipho Ferox, which would be the very final game of the regular season, essentially the winner of that would go playoffs, the loser would go relegations. The ramifications, that's of course still a week away. Friday though, of course, will be our next play day, which is hopefully going to be also jam-packed with action. But that's going to be us done tonight. That's also going to be us done for the regular season. Myself and Guz wish you all the best over the next week for the final 2 play days. We'll, of course, though, see you in the playoffs. So make sure you tune on Friday, though, for play day 6.
Acting like you really wanna fall for me, but baby, can you tell me who you wanna be? Talk to me. I just want a little bit of company. You acting like you really wanna fall for me, but baby, can you tell me who you wanna be? I left my demons in my past. I still want something that can last. You make me feel like I'm okay. We both know that you feel the same. Baby, I got nothing else to prove. You're talking about your best, I don't move. Remember that you always get to choose. Talk to me. I just want a little bit of company. You're acting like you really wanna fall for me, but baby, can you tell me who you wanna be? Talk to me. I just want a little bit of company. You're acting like you really wanna fall for me. friends, yeah, I guess you got my intention. Got me pissing all the beat, feel like another dimension. I don't wanna talk, baby, you should let it go. I don't wanna go, let me stay a little more. Talk to me, I just want a little bit of company. Acting like you really wanna fall for me. But baby, can you tell me who you wanna be? Yeah, talk to me. I just wanna like it.